Okay, so there is a lot of information here. Like I said, if you have any questions or if you need me to slow down, let me know. And we're going to talk about insurance for personal chefs, caterers, private chefs, um, why it's a must-have, how to get it, why you should get it, the different types, the different legalities, the different liabilities, and all of the things that you'll be using it for. It is a lot of information. So like I said, if you need me to slow down, if you have any questions, let me know and we
Okay.
can get into it. So insurance obviously is something that any contractor or any type of gig job is going to need. But in our specific industry, we really need insurance because we have a huge liability when it comes to not only cooking in people's kitchens. You are subjected to fire, explosions, physical damages from sharp things, from heavy objects, heavy lifting. Also, you're working with a lot of heat, so you have an issue of hot liquids, hot oil if you're deep frying, scalding, and not only can that be a harmful or possible risk towards you as a chef, but it can be a possible harm or risk towards your employees, your sous chef, your assistants, but more drastically, it can be an issue towards the actual people's home. And if they are in the kitchen, if they're walking around the kitchen, if they are near you, or if they are home while you are working. Although most of the time nothing will happen, you always are at a physical risk when it comes to all of those variables. Secondly, when with our profession as personal private chefs, you are dealing with a lot of liabilities when it comes to actually feeding people. When you're feeding someone, you have the physical hazards of them choking, and they could be choking based off them not eating properly, them laughing and talking too much, them not paying attention to how they're eating, but also what they're eating in terms of if there is bones in the food that you are cooking, chicken bones, a lot of really common fish bones. It gets caught in people's throats, people have issues and they can aspirate. So you have those physical damages that can happen when it comes to being a personal private chef and you are feeding people. And the biggest liability that you're going to have as a personal private chef is going to be just straight allergens and food sensitivities that people are not aware of, or maybe they are aware of and you didn't do your due diligence to make sure you avoided it in their food. So as a personal private chef, that is a huge weight that you have on yourself in order to not only keep yourself safe, your staff safe, the kitchen safe, but your clients most importantly safe, because they're paying you to trust you that you're going to come into their kitchen, cook them food, and they're not going to have any issues of physical safety, allergen safety, or anything that is going to hinder their dining experience. So that is the goal. However, that doesn't always happen, right?
Mm.
There's plenty of trainings that you want to do in order to make sure that always is at the lowest possible risk level that you can, based on proper training on temperature control, heat, ovens, knife safety, making sure that you're allergen certified, which we're going to get to later on about the different certifications, making sure you understand the different allergens, make sure you have conversations with the client based on, how they eat, making sure that you do your due diligence of checking meats for bones and impurities. It's a lot of work. So there's going to be times where you miss a step or you forget something or things don't go quite as planned. That's why we have insurance, right? So insurance is going to be the what we need, so that when we do take on these projects and we do take on these gigs, we are not uncomfortable. We are confident going into it, because if something does go wrong, we have the backing in order to make sure that we make the client whole. And we have the backing in order to make sure that if anybody gets hurt in the situation, that we have the finances and the capabilities to take care of the situation, so that the client is comfortable, and we ourselves are not out of a business, especially when it comes to being sued for money or things that we can't afford. So if you're going to be in a business and cooking for people, you're going to absolutely need insurance in order to operate. I'm not sure if it's like that in every state, but in Pennsylvania, it is mandatory to have personal chef insurance in order to operate as a personal chef. That period.
Okay, I'll check on that.
Yeah, so check on your state and see if you absolutely need it, but I'm pretty sure it's most states, because it's such a huge factor. But I would definitely recommend looking into your state and see if that's what's needed.
I think either way, though, I would probably get it.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
either way, you definitely should get it, because anything can happen.
Yeah.
So we'll talk more about how to get it, but first we're gonna talk about these culinary associations.
Okay.
So these culinary associations, and there are a few, I listed 4 on the ebook that you can look through later. But these culinary associations, they're great. They're great if you do not have your own business, if you do not have your own LLC, if you do not have your own insurance. Basically, if you are not privatized, it is a good stepping stone in order to go and work for a company and have the company's merit and insurance and liability kind of covering you, so that you kind of are trusted, because the company might be trusted, or the association might be trusted, like personal chef associations. So that might be a good stepping stone, but there are some pros and cons when it comes to it. And like I said, there's an extensive list on the ebook that you can read. So we're just gonna skim over, what might be the best option for you. So the pros of it is, if you are not trying to privatize and you do not want the headache of insurance, and you do not want to have to be an LLC in order to work, you can join one of these associations, and they're going to give you bookings. They're going to give you people. They're going to give you bookings. And a lot of them are already recognized nationally or internationally. So, it's always good to kind of have that backing to say, hey, I'm part of the blah 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 personal chef association. A lot of people already trust you a bit more, and they're a bit more comfortable with you, because they immediately think, oh, well, I know that association, they've been working for a long time, they must be a chef, or whatever the case may be. So those are the pros of it. In my opinion, the cons of joining the associations are a lot more. So for one, a lot of these associations are completely outdated in terms of their platform and how they reach people. So in terms of getting their clients, their marketing strategy, their social media presence, there's just their overall online presence, their controllability, their interface on their websites, all outdated, not user friendly, and just archaic in nature. And so much of the business that you're doing as a personal chef has to do with being on the latest food trends, making sure you know recipes, make sure you know how to blog, having a social media presence, knowing market strategies, because you have to know all of that. These associations are not going to help you do that, because they themselves don't know how to do it to represent themselves, or do it in a way that people even know who they are. So because they don't have that kind of backing, you're gonna have to still have your own strong social media presence. You're still gonna have to have your own, strong website. You're still gonna have to do all of these things because they're not gonna represent you in a way that is trendy and modern. So what's the point of joining them if you have to go out of your way to have your own website and do all of that? You might as well just do the extra step and just go completely private. The
Yeah.
other main thing with these associations is that they give you these clients, right? So they give you these clients, and a lot of people, the only way that they can find you is through this specific association's website. So if they wanted to find you and you decided, I'm not going to have a website, I'm not going to have a social media presence, I'm not going to have Google reviews, I'm not going to do any of that, I'm just going to join this association. Yes, you might get business and clients, but anybody that wants to look you up or wants to find you, they have to go through specifically that um website for you to
Okay.
be found. They're not going to find you any other way except through that website. And then that website can kind of control your clients, and they can kind of also sometimes control your rates that you charge people, because a lot of these associations, they work specifically for, maybe the elderly or a specific niche of people, and they already have a set price, versus when you're completely privatized, you control your prices, you control your clients, and you control how you look when it comes to, your social media outlook and your social media presence and your overall online brand. Because one thing these companies will not do is help you brand. You will be part of their brand. You'll be working for them. They'll be saying, hey, these are our amazing chefs, versus you are already an amazing chef and you are building your own brand.
Okay.
So does that make sense? Do you have any questions about, in terms of those associations, and whether or not, it's up to you whether or not you're going to join them? But I just wanted to make sure that you are clear as to the pros and cons, and if you have any questions about them.
I don't have any questions, but I'm definitely clear on it. Like, it's definitely giving me some thoughts.
Great. So I always recommend, if you do not know what you're doing at all, you're afraid of learning how to get, your own insurance, you don't want to deal with liabilities, you don't want to deal with that right away, you can join these associations because they are going to be a stepping stone. But I definitely need to let you know that they are not free. These associations are all pricey. They all are pricey, and they all have a yearly, sometimes monthly renewal. So you pay a set price, a few hundred, sometimes a few $1,000s. Sometimes you have to take their course. Sometimes you have to take their trainings in order to be considered a chef or a personal chef. And then they're going to, give you only a set amount of clients and give you the set amount of, so you have to pay them, and you have to decide whether it's worth it, because the amount of money that you are going to pay them, you can probably privatize yourself. However, they are going to give you the insurance and the liability coverage that, you might be a little concerned about, but they're not free. They all are, you have to pay for all of them. So it really all depends on the direction that you want to go.
Okay.
Okay. So once you get your insurance, there's going to be a few different methods that you can get your insurance. You can just Google or just search, the different types of personal chef insurances. There's a few out there. So there's no reason to like give you suggestions, because you can just Google, insurance for personal chefs. There's so many. There's Insure My Food. That's a quick one off the top of my head. Um, and they have all types of different liabilities, and different coverages, and you just want to make sure that you try to get a really high coverage. I would recommend getting at least $1 million, because when it comes to food safety and kitchen safety, there is no, there's no amount of there is no amount of money that is too high in terms of the risk that you might be taking. So, just go ahead and buy one of those insurances. Personal chef insurance is just like any other insurance. Sometimes you can do it by month to month. Sometimes, which is usually the cheapest way, you can do by year coverage, and then you're covered for the entire year. So that's good. They'll give you a lot of them. They'll give you a representative to help you kind of figure it out. But that's as much as like insurances, as much as information or bureaucracy you got to do with it. Once you file for your insurance, you get your coverage, you pay it out, right? It's yours, right? You got you're covered, and you just want to make sure that you are covered in terms of your name. So whatever your full name is, you want to make sure that that full name is under that insurance, but you also want to make sure that your business entity is under that insurance. Why you want to do that is because if you ever get sued, or if you ever have an issue situation, the person can not only decide to sue your company for whatever it is the situation is, but they can sue you, the person, for even more reasons. So when you get yourself insured, you want to make sure not only is your business insured, but if your name, your personal name and your personal person is insured too. So all of that usually comes to, one large lump sum. Some of them can break it down. In terms of what can be covered, you can also cover things like equipment, your tools, expensive machinery. Even you can even cover and insure very big, high value events that are a few thousand, like really expensive events that in case something goes wrong or in case it doesn't go through, you are insured through that. There's a lot of options. Do your research. Just make sure you're absolutely insured for probably at least $1 million. You can do maybe 500,000 if you're starting off small, but it's usually not that much more expensive just to do 1 million. So you should just do that, because if somebody ever sues you, at least you're covered for 1 million, which is a whole heck of a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
So once you have your insurance, you might, in some places, in some states, you need this no matter where you work, and then some counties you need this, but some venues and some clients, depending what it is, they're going to ask for something called a COI. A COI is something called it's a certificate of insurance. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's just a certificate that proves that you as a personal chef have personal chef insurance. You might need to also have liquor insurance, which we're going to talk about, or you might need to have venue insurance. There's just certain insurances you might have for the venue. You can also get like day of event insurance, for example. Once you have those type of insurances, you might get something called a certificate of insurance that you process it with you as the entity and your name and the party that you're serving. You put like Carla's wedding house or whatever that you're doing. You put that onto your insurance, and that just pretty much says that if something goes wrong, they are also covered underneath your insurance, and they won't really have to go through like the battle of if something goes wrong, they have to file, because you're already covering them before you even step in and do their work. So a few places are going to ask you for that. So you want to make sure that you get any insurance that you get, you want to make sure that they are able to provide you that, because not all of them are going to be able to provide you those certificates. So you want to make sure before you even buy your insurance plan, they are able to provide you certificates of insurance, and you can amend them based on your events. Because if you are only able to get it for one time and your events change, then you're going to have a difficult time. Some of them even make you pay extra for each time you get a certificate. So or sometimes you might need one certificate because you work at the same venue over and over again. So you just want to make sure that you are really understanding that insurance. You can easily get a certificate if you need to, in case you work at a big venue and they require that of you.
Okay.
Any other questions? Am I going too fast? How are we doing?
Good. Good. No questions yet. Just taking it all in.
Okay, good. So the next thing we're going to talk about, which is kind of a sensitive topic, and it has a lot of legalities. So I would recommend you do your own research and also reread the ebook that is there, because the ebook is really going to help you understand all of it because it's a lot. But this is about liquor and alcohol.
Okay.
So you as a personal private chef, you just under your personal private chef um insurance, you cannot buy or serve alcohol to your clients. Like, you cannot do that. So if you do not want to have other insurances for liquor, you need to not have that be part of your business. But obviously we are working in areas that definitely like to drink, and you do not want to limit your clients um to a non-alcohol event. So here's what you can do to get around that as a personal private chef. For one, you're going to absolutely if you are going to regularly serve alcohol and purchase alcohol, and you have a venue or you have a regular place that you do it, you're going to need a liquor license. That's just what you're
Okay.
going to need. You're going to need a liquor license in order to operate that. But liquor licenses are expensive, they're really complicated, and they are not easy to get. So what can you do as a personal private chef? For one, you can get insured to make sure that you have that alcohol coverage underneath that insurance. So, the insurance that we were just talking about, you can have it cover alcohol, and you can have it cover just for one event. For example, if you're doing like one major event, you can get it so that it covers for just that day, or it just covers you can get it so that it covers you as a person. But you're never going to be able to legally purchase alcohol for your clients. So what you can do with that, to make sure that you're not having any issues with the state or anything like that, you're going to be first ramp certified, which we're going to talk a little bit later as to what that certification is. But that certification just pretty much makes sure that you know how to responsibly serve alcohol and check ID, which are the two major reasons why things go wrong. ID and not serving alcohol properly at a good quantities. So you want to make sure that you get that, which we're going to talk about certifications. But when it comes to actually buying alcohol, the clients have to be responsible to buy the alcohol. So that means that if they are that means they are paying for the alcohol. The money that they are using to pay you for the event is the money that they are using to buy their own alcohol. So if a client who is 21 years age or older does and has a valid ID, if they are purchasing their own alcohol and they are consuming it in their own home, then you, if you have your ramp certification, are able to come responsibly serve that alcohol.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that means you are not at any means a bar, and you cannot just buy liquor and then sell it to people for a price or anything like that. That is not, you cannot do that. So that means you cannot go out to the store, buy yourself a bottle, and then say, hey, I'm charging you however much money per drink I make you. No, you are one, not a bartender. You do not have a liquor license. You are not a bar. You can't do that as a personal private chef. Any alcohol that consumes needs to be consumed by people who are 21 years age of older that you can prove who have purchased the alcohol through their own funds and will be drinking it in their own home. Then you, because you are insured and you are certified, can serve them responsibly. And as soon as they are too drunk or too intoxicated or acting erratic or doing whatever, you can cut them off and take that responsibility into your own hands. But you have to be aware that if you are serving them alcohol, even in their own home. And even if they purchase it themselves, if you are working a gig that evening and you serve them too many drinks because you were not paying attention to how many drinks that you served them, and they decide that they're going to, I don't know, go to an after party, and they leave that evening and get in a car accident and get hurt, it is your fault. 100% your fault.
Okay.
Yes. So you want to make sure that you are RAMP certified so that you can understand how to properly serve alcohol to people so that they do not get drunk and put you in any issues. This is what I do in order to avoid the situation. I limit all of the alcohols, all of the drinks to 2 to 3 over the entire course of my time there. So they get a drink in the beginning, they might get another drink in the end, and then depending how long I'm there, they might get another drink in the middle. My drinks are also diluted. So they have alcohol in them, but none of the drinks have enough to equal an entire drink's worth, right? Because if
Yeah.
they want to drink and they want to be drunk and they want to intoxicate them, they can purchase their own alcohol, pour their own drinks, and drink it themselves. But you, as a personal chef, even if they bought it, if you are serving them mixed drinks, or if you're serving drinks and you're not paying attention to the quantity that you are serving and they get too drunk, that is 100% your fault. So you have to be careful and you have to be smart about how you serve, where you serve, and who is buying the alcohol.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes.
Any questions with that?
No.
Okay, we're almost done. So the other thing that you might need, not everyone needs this, depending on your state, your county, and what the work you're doing, but you may need a catering license.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory. Catering, they're not that hard to get, they're not that expensive either, and you just want to make sure that whatever you're cooking in, whatever you're cooking around, whatever the food you're making, it's a sanitary place. By sanitary, meaning it's pest free, it gets professionally sanitized. um these are like the things that they're gonna, and if you might be able to get a catering license um for several different reasons. But if you're working out of a ghost kitchen or you rent a kitchen, they might already have a licensure like that. Or if you're working for a company, they might already have a licensure like that, so you might not need it. And also, if you're always cooking at the other person's at another at an outside facility, or whether in the person's private home, you might not need a catering license. But if you plan on cooking, anywhere off site like that, you might need a catering license for these huge projects. But they're very easy to get, they're not expensive, and you just want to make sure that you know how to cook in a clean environment
Okay.
all the time. And make sure you know how to properly do sanitation and all of that, which is already something you're going to learn, you're going to know how to do as a personal private chef.
Yeah.
It's not much information there. Just if you feel like you need it for your business, get it. Not every state even needs it, so just do your research on that.
What
Yes.
I have a question. Like in regards to that, since that's like the direction that I'm going in, like even if my state doesn't require it, do you think that it would probably be best to even get it, like just as like a safety measure, maybe?
If you're not working out of your state or out of your county, you don't need it. It might not even be offered. Like if you have you have to check and research your county or your state. It might not even be something that is needed if you have the other insurances plus other business licenses. So it depends state and county. So do your research, but if your county has it, get it. You should definitely get it, because you are doing mostly caterings, so I definitely would recommend you getting it so that your business is in good standing. However, do your research to see if it's even needed, you know,
Okay.
because you don't need to be a personal chef to do it. You don't
Yeah.
need, I mean, sorry, you don't need to be a personal chef, you don't need to have your catering license necessarily. So it might be good to have, but it's not necessarily something that you need to do. So just consider that.
Okay.
Um, and then in terms of your business license, you just want to make sure that is totally going to depend on your state and your county. But, you just want to make sure that when you file your, which we talked about, when you file your LLC, your S Corp, you get yourself your EIN number. You said you're going to use LegalZoom. They're going to give you all of the information you need, all of the different licenses. They also can run a report. Any of these ones that you use, they're going to run a report to say, hey, in order to operate, you're going to need this thing in this county. But because it's county specific and state specific, I don't really know what your specific state is, but you only need it in order to be obviously a real business and to pay your taxes, get your EIN number and all of that. And you need it obviously to have your own personal chef business, but the only absolute thing you need to be a personal chef is actually your food safety manager and the personal chef insurance. So
Okay.
those are the things. And then um, we talked about insuring your equipment and tools. You should just do that. There's so many insurance companies out there that will do that. Geico, Lemonade, like there's so many of them. Do your own research there. It's not expensive at all. You can insure things like your special knives, your special equipment, all of your tools, anything that's expensive. Like it's really usually not expensive. Um, so do your research with that, but definitely get yourself insured because you're going to be using a lot of specialty equipments that might be really important to you. And you might have specialty knives. You might not. You might, like, I don't personally have any specialty knives. All of my knives are very generic and cheap, so I don't insure them. But if I was, for example, like a sushi or a Japanese chef, I would probably have those type of knives that might be a bit more expensive, definitely higher quality. Might insure them. I have a lot of equipment that's expensive, and my equipments that are expensive, I want to make sure if anything happens to them that I can always replace them or I can always get money on them. So that's what I use the equipment for, equipment
Okay.
insurance for. And trust me, there's so many places that you can use. So just do your research to see what works best for you. And then the last and final insurance that you don't necessarily need, but you should definitely have is personal health insurance. So as a small business, it is very difficult for us to get our own insurance. So we either have to pay out of pocket, which is a lot of money, or we're going to have to get the state insurance, or Obamacare. We're going to have to get some kind of, government plan or insurance like that. And you should have it. If you have a full-time job that has these benefits, that's great. But if you plan on privatizing and going full-time, you're not going to have those benefits. So you're going to have to either pay it out of pocket or get state government insurance, which is not as good, honestly, but it's something.
Yeah.
Because working in the job that you do, you never know if you're going to get into a car accident going on your way to work, or an oven might explode, you cut your finger off slicing, and any of these things could go wrong. And you want to make sure that you have some kind of health insurance or some kind of health policy to help cover you in any emergency or urgent costs. You also want to make sure that urgent areas around in case something does happen to you. But if something happens where including hot oil or hot water or anything on the oven, you never know. So you want to make sure that you have health insurance in order to really cover yourself. And whether you want to pay out of pocket or you get state insurance, if you qualify, you're going to have to just do what you can to try to get insured, so that you never have to, be worried about if something happens to you.
Okay.
Yeah, and that concludes all of the information on insurances. Um, so we're gonna go over it a quick review again, and then we're gonna talk about what we're gonna do to move forward for next month's meeting and what your assignments are. But we'll just quickly go over what we just learned, which was the meat of our meeting today. We learned about insurance, and how, as a personal private chef, you absolutely need to be insured. Try to be insured for at least $1 million. There's several insurance companies that will cover you. You can also decide to join an association, a chef association, which can provide you said insurance, and the insurance is going to be able to help cover you with any issues. The pros of these associations is that they insure you and they give you clients. The cons is that they are very archaic. They're archaic. They don't have much of a branding, and you definitely still have to work to have your own online presence. You should try your best to get your insurance company that can always provide you certificate of insurances in case you need to prove that for any of the venues you work. Always remember that at any given time, you're not a bar. You cannot buy alcohol for your clients. You cannot buy alcohol for your clients and sell drinks. You need to have a liquor license in order to do that. You should be ramp certified. And once you have your ramp certification, all you can do is responsibly serve that alcohol which was bought and consumed by the client in their home. And you should always remember, limit the drinks so that you limit the liability. Consider getting your catering license for huge catering jobs so that your business can be in good standing and you'd understand proper sanitation. Get your business license using whatever entity that you're using, and always make sure you get your EIN number. Insure your tools and your equipment, and try to get personal health insurance in case anything happens to your person.
Mhm.
Any questions?
Um, no, just so it's a lot to take in. It's like it makes me a little nervous.
I
But
understand that, but you have it all written down for you. You in the ebook, so you can read it as many times as you want. You have me for questions and emails. I'll answer any emails that you want. And always remember that if all of this is too much for you, you can always join an association.
yeah. Okay. Okay. Definitely a lot to look into.
So we're gonna talk about what your assignments are for next month.
Okay.
So your first assignment is to write a pros and cons list as to whether or not you should join an association.
Okay.
Right? I want at least 10 points, either pros or con, just 10 total.
Okay. Okay. That's no problem.
Okay. I also want you to research the insurance that you are going to get for your business and for your equipment, and get a quote.
Okay.
And lastly, I want you to get um, a report on what the licenses you need in order to operate in your county/state.
Okay.
You can get that report via, I know you had said you were working with LegalZoom. LegalZoom will give you that report. You can also call or go to your county office and they'll give you that information as well. Or you can just do a lot of Googling.
Oh, okay.
I just paid someone to run the report for me. but you can do all those options. Yeah.
Okay.
Any
Okay.
questions about those assignments?
No. Just
Okay.
ready to do some research because I'm curious myself.
Sure, sure. Yeah, I have no idea what it is for your state, but it's different in every single, literally, it's even different county to county. So, and then so next week, will be after we hopefully you've moved a few steps forward in the formation of your business, which was the 2 months ago what we've been working on. So you'll go ahead and continue working on that. So hopefully it's solidified by the time we talk. You'll have your assignments ready so that we can talk about it and how to make sure you're properly covered. And then the bulk of the meeting, which what we're going to learn about, is all of the certifications you need. We're gonna talk about food safety, alcohol, allergen, sanitation, rent, nutrition, hospitality, event planning, all of that for your certifications so that you are running and operating a smooth business. Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Do you have any questions?
No.
Great. Okay, so you have my email. Let me know if you have any questions or anything moving forward. You have the ebook. Keep rereading the ebook, seeing what doesn't make sense, what we can figure out together. And I will talk to you in our next Zoom meeting a month from now.
Okay.
But
Okay,
email
sounds
me. I know I said a lot. Email me if you have any questions, okay?
Okay, definitely.
All right. You have a fantastic night.
You too, Chef. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.